Welcome back, everybody, to the College COD Championships in San Antonio, Texas, over at the Techport Arena. 4 teams have arrived, and for the round robin, our first round is finally concluded. Zep, we got to see St. Clair take down Fisher on stream, but we have to talk a little bit about Oklahoma Christian and Northwood as well, because Oklahoma 3-0 sweep it. They've been waiting in the wings. They've been waiting for quite a long time now to take the stage once again, and they're going to have their chance to now match up against St. Clair. But talk to me a little bit about what we're seeing here. Anything really stand out to you for the championship round robin?
Well, I think ultimately just, looking at it, Oklahoma Christian had a really good start, clean 3-0. You could argue that they are the team that should be dominant in this next game, going purely off the stats. But, I mean, we've seen a really, really strongly contested game between St. Clair Saints and Fisher Esports, wherein it went all the way. And then we saw St. Clair Saints make a statement, going 6-0 on the map 5, search and destroy, absolutely running through their opposition. Maybe trying to instill a little bit of fear into Oklahoma Christian, showing that now that they have found their form and they've gotten their game finished sooner, that they're going to be more warm going into a series where they're looking to continue and start to build a hot streak.
And, diving deep into the series that we're about to jump into now for St. Clair versus Oklahoma Christian, this head-to-head is one thing that's very interesting, because both of these two teams have a very similar story in terms of college COD, and it is mostly tripping at the finish line for Oklahoma Christian. I said it to Proper earlier today, they've always been the bridesmaid and never the bride. Well, St. Clair, it's kind of the same. You've been improving year to year with every single roster you're bringing into the CCL, but you have still yet to put that championship under your belt here for college COD. And this year, for the team that they've put together, everybody's looked at them and they've looked at this roster and they've said this has to be the moment that St. Clair rises to the occasion.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen in their roster already, it truly is a top-tier side that knows how to fight through adversity as well, and that is going to be huge for them in the LAN scenario, right? The fact that they've already proven that they can go all the way and that they can hold their nerve and dominate in a map number 5, whereas Oklahoma, granted, it's early on, we're only really in game 2, but they haven't been tested in this LAN scenario yet. So you go up against a team who's had to go all the ways, had to have more reps, and has proven that they can take the fight to their opposition in all scenarios, versus a side that's far had it clean. You're going to see the side who's been able to fight tooth and nail to get there really be able to show why they're as good as they are.
I think I'm really excited for this one, just in general, because I think this Oklahoma Christian team has something to prove coming to LAN. Changing up their roster, adding in Gusify towards the playoffs, a really familiar face for the Oklahoma Christian Eagles, but still something that you want to see translate over towards LAN when they go into Play 5, second place. Now they want to see if they can break that streak that has just been the Silver Surfers for collegiate Call of Duty. St. Clair, coming into this one, a long series versus Fisher. It goes all 5 maps, and I'm sure they want a little bit of a break between it, but at the same time, they probably want to keep this one going. We got Vault, Rewind, Protocol, and this is kind of interesting because for St. Clair, they lost both of the Rewinds in the last series versus Fisher, so it's very interesting to see them go for it again here versus Oklahoma Christian.
Yeah, super bizarre. I thought, looking at that rewind, I was like, hang on a minute. The fact that rewind is coming in again, it is really, really strange to see it to come in again. But hey, maybe they're feeling like they've learned something after playing it before, learned how to play it based off of that search and destroy and hard point. Maybe we'll see them be able to course correct in that map and further perfect their game. But you look at the side of Oklahoma, that is going to be where they are going to be looking to capitalize. They'll have seen how the Saints played in that map previous. They'll have heard about that already, and they'll know that those are the maps to really gun for if it's a series that draws out and goes all the way.
Well, here we go. Vault, Hardpoint, St. Clair going to be starting on the more preferred side. Oklahoma Christian looking to get into P1 and see if they can flip things out right off the get-go. Opening kills, though, go to the Saints, and they're going to be the first ones on the hill.
Yeah, Saints early on trying to get a bit of dominance established throughout the middle and also try and keep those spawns, as playing for that top cat is going to be huge as well. You can see Proda on top there with KB as they're going to try and push maybe around just to get the angle. Huge push out wide. Meanwhile, the fight towards the first point, it's Oklahoma finally getting on.
I think for Oklahoma Christian, you're trying to break through. Cruz out the front. Prada is going to try to break, but it's a split kill feed. Crew's even going to get shot in the back. St. Clair doing a good job at denying this later time, setting up for P2. It's a full push towards the top from Oklahoma Christian. They need to make some work out of this.
A massive moment early doors to get around the back. Manny trying to break the spawns. Huge gunfight coming up back there. But so far, it does seem to be Cootie still holding on. Cootie, of course, a player who was so strong in her previous series, going... not even dying once, should I say, in the search and destroy in map number 5. So you talk about a player who's going to be really pivotal in key moments. St. Clair Saints, they have more than one, but Cootie is one that Oklahoma are going to have to be aware of in this series.
Well, 2 go down. Oklahoma Christian looking to get all 4, and a good trade there from Prada. He gets 3 in a row. Oklahoma Christian breaks from the front. They're even going to force some spawn outs for the Saints. So good time now to see if they can cut this lead. And he's going to go up top. He provides some overwatch to the cross in the pool. Even plays his life really well on this 3 spree. So forcing St. Clair to overextend to get the kills back. And they do end up making that happen. But it's towards the end of this P2 as rotations of P3 are what we look for.
And rotation is going to be massive. KB already making his way over there, but Gus playing up in that top. Art has the power position. Good opportunity for Oklahoma to be able to reset here. Haven't been able to get any sort of map control, as we're going to see Prada try and hold this mid push. Does so, but looking at it now, St. Clair have actually managed to rotate rather well and getting broken up to top Art as well. St. Clair Saints are getting a lot of these pivotal kills when it comes to rotations.
There's a lot of heads-up plays, a lot of forward thinking from the Saints. I don't think the Eagles were too ready from this. It seems like St. Clair have learned a thing or two from Fisher in that rewind that we just saw. They were struggling in this category, so a break back from Oklahoma Christian. Saints still have those better spawns, so it looks like the Eagles want to put some pressure on it now with the kills flowing through, but Seawad's up top. Crossfire onto Manny. Now they know Prada's going to be underneath, so this is the big kill to look for as everybody is on red alert for this lone player looking to break these spawns.
Yeah, just trying to get in the back and be that nuisance player rotating out. Realizes there's someone close. Oh, pistol out. Great kill from Prada as he's just trying to be a thorn in the backside there. Get around the back, break those spawns. Huge wave of kills as well. And this is a huge turning point for Oklahoma as they try to lock down the back. But KB doing a great job of playing his life here. 10-4 as well with 34 seconds on time. But a key player for the St. Clair Saints.
So how do the Saints break this one? KB, he needs to play his life. Cruising the cross. He's traded 2 down for the Eagles. And you can see those spawns all the way towards the back of that P1 hardpoint. So now's a chance for the Saints to see if they can put something together here inside the break. Cootie finds his way through. And those green arrows immediately turning around to see if they can catch anybody on the slide through the streets. They get the kill onto Manny. And you can see that even KB is still playing in the back, watching this back rotation. He takes down Cruz, and the front door is where you're seeing Oklahoma Christian have their chance at this one. Gus is going to get traded out, though, and the Saints marginally holding on to this lead.
A real checkerboard of kill feed, but one of which St. Clair will be happy with because they're still able to hold on to the point. But as we go back to P1, a 2 for 2, 83 to 73, only 10 points in it. Neck and neck between both of these sides as they've been really back and forth on a lot of these hills. St. Clair Saints, they've done a great job of rotating, picking up the key kills, but not been able to make as much time off those points as maybe they would have liked.
I think for Saints, you look back to this P1, P2 rotation, it net them a good chunk of time. But it was off the kills and the break off that really led them to this one, guys. He's going to find the break for the time. Keep this one white for now. 93 playing 78. And Cruz is going to hop on to the hill. See if he can close this gap. Slowly pull it away. And a spawn in the back too means that Saints are going to be flipped out here. So now Oklahoma Christian have to start thinking about just locking down these back spawns.
Yeah, massive that they get pushed through the back, but Oklahoma, credit to them. They've caught on quickly as Manny tries to get pushed around the back. Has that spawn position. And we'll probably have to fend off against C-Wads here as he's going to challenge that gunfight around the back. Actually drops the C-Wads, which could maybe lead to these spawns to flip, although Gus is around the back, and yes, Manny gets spawned back up. Oklahoma managing to hold on to the spawns, but St. Clair Saints doing a good job of holding from the front.
Don't like this play from Prada. He's just sitting in the pool. See if you can catch anybody on the rotation, but St. Clair didn't have to be the ones to make the move. They had their player in the hard point. Everybody else was just top catwalk with an aims in hands. Watching for anybody on this approach. Eagles have the back spawn, so they're going to take another swing at this, and you can see them all grouping together as they form a line one by one. Prada See if you can get behind this one. Crew's going to take the gunfight. Cootie tried to slide out, but Oklahoma Christian break.
Finally getting broken in, but arguably too little too late. You know, St. Clair getting a lot of time, I believe, off that P2, more than they should have, considering that they didn't really have any major spawn control. But now getting rotated over towards P3 again, you have Gus up in that top R position. Huge gunfight. Remember, he got dropped from that position last time around, so knows how important it is to stay alive up there now.
Fight to the middle, Cootie. See if he can catch a route here. Drops down into the vault. He's going to be in behind, able to remove Cruz from that contesting angle. Looking at this minimap, it looks like the Eagles want to take a little bit of a long route on this play, and it looks like Saints are ready for this. KBC Wads winning the battles to the middle of the map, and look at this play from Cootie's actually spawned them out. Nobody's going to react to it, and this is going to send these spawns into an absolute disaster.
And once again, the back not really being watched. Granted, maybe a bit of unfortunate timing for Cootie to be able to get around top art, but that's a key break, and now St. Clair will once again have those spawns towards P4. Didn't utilize them fully the last time around, and that was kind of due to Oklahoma being able to pick up the key kills on the transition. But if St. Clair Saints can get a clean hold in this P4 and start to lock down these lanes, then all of a sudden they're within touching distance of map 1.
Rupert down low. He's going to take the first fight, and St. Clair, they were broken very quickly. Last time we were at this hill, it looks like it's going to repeat itself. Manny finds a way through the front door. Just knocks, opens it up, and says, hey, it's my house now. Cruz with 2 over towards Art. That's going to create a little bit of distress for the Saints on this cross. You see this? Cruz is taking a lot of space now over towards that B zone control. 3 down again, and Oklahoma Christian, for what feels like the first time in map 1, have flipped the lead, Zap.
Yeah, great play being able to push through there to grab onto that key point, and they've been edging closer and closer each and every time. Again, was only about 10-20 points in the difference after the first set of rotations, going back to P1, and now finally getting the lead. They have just been slowly but surely ebbing and flowing and growing into this game, and that has been down to the likes of Cruz. 26-19 on a 6 streak here, just absolutely popping off and being a key player for his side.
St. Clair now shoes on their foot to see if they can replicate any of a comeback now, where Oklahoma Christian are looking to pull away with this momentum. 3 down again, and look at those spawns over towards Art. It's going to be a few seconds before St. Clair are able to put together any sort of strategy, and it looks like the Eagles want to get aggressive of it as well. A couple kills with the spawn. Actually, St. Clair are going to fight back from it, so they're able to battle their way back into this P1 hardpoint, but they are trapped on the inside, and Oklahoma Christian are looking to deny any time that they can to hold this lead.
Yeah, Oklahoma just seem to be growing in confidence, whereas the Saints, their momentum is sapped. They've done very well in a lot of rotations. They've gotten in on key breaks, but Oklahoma have always just been there to one-up them once again. They always re-break. They always get re-rotated, reset onto the new point, and are starting to reap the fruits from the reward, you know, from their hard labor. About to hit the 200-point mark. But mind you, St. Clair Saints now with a wave of kills, holding spawns. This is their chance to answer back.
But a team kill leaves an opening here for Manny to get in. Prada with the support removes the pressure from that time, but you look at the feed lights up green, and St. Clair are able to reset on the hill, trailing by 40. Still time to gain off of this hardpoint hill as we're looking about halfway mark inside. Manny is going to try to be that one to break yet again, but on the cross, he just cannot get to the back of that zone. Cruz is going to invest the Hellstorm, and it's going to take 2 of the Saints down, but they're still on the inside, looking to fight for every single drop they can, and a team nade onto Gus allows C-Wads to lock it down.
Yeah, that team nade was huge, and now St. Clair Saints have a chance to pull this one back. Only 10 points and counting, as the rotations down to P3 will become pivotal, and you would think at this point it's going to all come down to P4 and who's able to set up there. It is once again Gus holding that top R position. Twice he has been taken off that position, both times on the P3. Now he's going to have to make sure to watch his back just as much as his front.
Well, fights through mid again. It's the subs for St. Clair, constantly finding breaks on this hill. You have the better spawns right now for Oklahoma Christian, but as both teams are sitting in and around the 210 marker, this is time you want to fight for. You don't want to give a team a chance to break this P4 hill and put it away in this rotation itself, and you can see that both of them are walking on eggshells, just trying not to make a mistake here.
So close between these two sides at this point. It's been such an entertaining game to watch. A back and forth, all culminating here in a P3 that will rotate towards the P4. Neck and neck with Oklahoma, just 10 points in the lead. It is Oklahoma set up for the P4, but we've seen the Saints break through before. Will they be able to do it again?
That's the question. Spawn out from Cruz. If he gets here in time, this could be the catalyst to putting away this map, and he's rushing to get into a position, but Cootie finds a kill. Traded out. Gus is removed from the top angle, and now Cootie's in behind. Split kill feed, but the Saints have flipped the map, and Cootie's looking for the break. He gets it. Manny, a headshot's going to remove him from the time, and St. Clair not in just yet, but peeling the layers off of Oklahoma Christian.
This is such a massive break for the Saints. How did they manage to do that? That is huge, but still have to hold on for at least a few waves of pushes. But Oklahoma playing out wide will have to get through Art and get round the back if they want to push in the front. There's 20 points needed now for the Saints as Oklahoma go for the push now together.
You need a break. Tie game. KP, another 2. Manny slides right into the lion's den. 14 seconds. 3 down again. Can you win? Here's the big question. But everybody for the Eagles are setting up for new. So you imagine we're going to another hill. KP's on 4 in a row. Cootie's on 4 in a row. And just 1 second is all it is needed for St. Clair to win it out. Can Oklahoma Christian steal this one away? 9 seconds for themselves. Prada wins it up top. Cootie has to drop down. He finds the kill into the back, but is there time to slide from KB? But it's not enough. And Cootie goes down as well.
Oh my God.
Oklahoma Christian stealing away map 1. A dramatic finish to the vault and a 1-point game.
Ladies and gentlemen, it does not get any closer than that. 250 to 249. Oklahoma stealing the game in fashion. Doing just enough, and by the literal definition of just about enough on that P4 to delay the clock, to get reset for P1, and they just about held on to come away with the victory. What a map 1.
Wow. I mean, St. Clair and Hardpoint map 1s, you cannot write a closer story. The duality of this team, when we look at the Rewind, Hardpoint, and map 4, and you look at the Skyline and other vaults that we've seen in map 1, 2 points, and they're the ones that make the comeback. This time, Oklahoma Christian, they recognize, they do the mental math, and they're like, okay, only 1 second is what we're going to be holding on to for this rotation. And you see the top cat control, you're watching the flank, you flip the map, and you're dynamic in the hard point. That is a masterclass of understanding the win condition right there for Oklahoma Christian. Not a lot of teams are able to pull that off. Cool, calm, collected, not a worry in the world. Oklahoma Christian, they just stay in their lane.
And they had to fight back from adversity as well, right? They were not in the lead for a large portion of that game. They were constantly 10, 20 points behind. And so many situations we see an instance like that where Saints being 10, 20 in the lead, all of a sudden after 1 point is 25, then it's 30, 35. And next thing you know, you're in the opposition. You're feeling your momentum being sapped as the lead just continues to stretch. But Oklahoma constantly kept in there, started to fight back, took the lead, and then as it went back and forth towards the death, as you said, remained calm, held on, and managed to sneak the victory.
3 points. Zep, 3 points is the difference for map 1s on St. Clair so far today. They win Skyline versus Fisher 250-248. They lose 250-249 against Oklahoma Christian this time. Literally 3-point difference across 2 map 1s that they've played. And that tees them up for quite the series. You look, and I mean, they look relaxed. They look chilled. And in fact, you can see KB here. He's actually staring at the stream to see, maybe what went wrong in that last play. But both sides, man, you know how close that is. And if you're Oklahoma Christian, that you kind of just stole that one away. So I'm sure going to the search and destroy, you're going to be feeling quite confident.
And it's a prelude for better things for them as well, because now they're taking the Saints into a map where they're not confident on. Granted, they went to a round 11 in it the last time around, the Saints, but ultimately losing that round 11. So you're playing up against a side who's feeling confident in their game, know that they were able to steal a map from underneath you. Potentially, they'll be looking to steal the second as well, going into a rewind. And if we see a rewind hardpoint in this one as well, that's again another weak spot for the Saints. So it's going to be a tough series now for the Saints from here on in. That was kind of a map that had to be a given for them if they wanted to come away with at least not the hardest of victories on their end.
Yeah.
But now it's going to be a long series for them regardless.
Well, strap in. It's been a long day. And don't forget, at home, if you've been enjoying it, not just on Twitch, but on YouTube as well, follow along for College COD. Make sure on X you're staying in touch with all the stats, all the updates that we're getting, not just on this stream, but on the B stream as well, where Fisher and Northwood are going head-to-head on the station you can see on your left. We're locked in for day one of the College COD Championships, and it's been delivering so far, Zep. I will say, both of these teams, or both of these series for St. Clair have been very, very close. Obviously, you know, there's some comfort in that you can look towards, and you're battling for each map, but at the same time, you got to start looking towards winning one and winning it comfortably, like that search and destroy we saw in Game 5, because if you're not having a heart attack after how close these hard points are, eventually I might.
Yeah, I mean, it gets to a point where surely you begin to feel your momentum begin to drain. You're just playing a lot of series, it's going really close, and you just get to a point to where, as you said, you just want one game to start going in your favor. You want a vault to be a clean, or a control to be a clean 3-0, a hard point to be a 100-point victory, a 6-0 or 6-2 in a search and destroy. You just need something like that popping up semi-consistently for you, just to be able to take a breather, a sigh of relief, and be like, okay, we actually are able to dominate a series where we can. And yes, the Saints were able to do it on that map number 5, but having to go to a map number 5 in the first place just to get that result out is not where you want to be. You want to be able to have at least one series to where you can go, okay, maybe we don't play our best game here, but we're still able to come away with the victory.
Well, with Search and Destroy coming into this, I mean, Rewind was, I wouldn't say an issue for St. Clair, but it was, again, not as comfortable as you would like versus Fisher. You go into this series, you think we're going to run it back on this map mode combo, not just for map 2, but map 4 as well in the hard points. And you have to be thinking that you're going to be coming in with that same energy you had in that map 5 for Oklahoma Christian. I don't really know the maps that we played in our series versus Northwood, but it was clean in the search, a 6-2 win in that map 2. And they're looking to go 2-0 up against St. Clair here, see if they can put them on the back foot.
As once again, Cootie here with the first blood. Maybe he's found just a new wave of momentum for Search and Destroy after the previous one. Again, not dying in a map number 5, S&D. Nerves of Steel trying to show themselves off once again as St. Clair Saints with the first blood. Now just trying to find a way into a site, trying to get another pick so they can flood forward as a team.
Still looking for that trade. Our Oklahoma Christian, as Ruper's taking up Cruz outside, spots his head over the car too. And now it is just down to Prada and Gus to see if they can salvage anything out of this first round. The bomb, well, it's heading over towards A. It's going to get planted, and they even spot out Gus out to the outside of RV. Unfortunately for KB, he goes down, but for the Eagles, this is their chance back.
Yeah, huge moment to try and break in here. Gus picking up the second as well, 2 versus 2. Gus not having the best map number 1, trying to pull it back into KD. Huge moment for him, but it's all up to him now in the 2v1. This would be a little ace here if he's able to pull this back in round 1.
Well, he's going for the whole way. C-Wad's making some information or making noise at that, and Gus has a chance to bring this into a one-on-one. 12 seconds. Rupert, he knows that. It's down to the objective. Gus, he didn't have time to do both, so you stick the defuse, you hope that there is just a lapse of judgment there from the Saints, but not this time for round 1. Nearly a 1v4 for Gus.
Yeah, it was a great showing from there, but time just not on his side, ultimately having to pop the bomb and that being his downfall. You throw him an extra 5 seconds, there's a very good chance he comes away with the win in that round and the ace, but having to play towards the clock means Oklahoma now 1 round down, having to see how they can do on the offensive side.
First blood, St. Clair in round 1. See if Oklahoma Christian can make a dash over towards this B side. As it looks like they're outside, they go right through the closet and in behind Cootie. I love the rush call to get up close and personal. Manny finds another one. It's all down to KP, and he's a turned around an elephant. Like, where did you guys go?
Yeah, that round went a little bit all over the place quite quickly as bomb now goes down. KB is going to need to try and find an early pick to be within a chance, but the debates from Oklahoma back and forth, playing off each other perfectly, knowing now that KB is just in this angle and knowing where he's going to come from, should be able to deal with it. Unless KB can get a pick like that, now all of a sudden this push has opened up.
He's got time. Close angle from Goss, see if he can get the regen. He is dancing with death. The nade's going to give him some space back, and I don't think with the smoke he actually saw Gus's positioning, so full wrap around, 13 seconds. Gus playing this exactly like Rupert just did to him, and yeah, it looks like KB got the call from his teammate that Gus is outside. You might find the kill, but Oklahoma Christian get the round, and they tie us up early.
Yeah, great play from Oklahoma Christian there. Got a little bit scary going into the 1v1 scenario, but ultimately two players in the tango of death, as you alluded to, the back and forth, and ultimately just Gus running down the clock well. Again, the clock is your friend on that offensive push once you get that bomb down and just making sure to get the job done. Not able to get the kill in the end up, but not that that matters very much at this stage.
Yeah, no, it's just the rounds at the end of the day. Kills only take you so far, and, you know, we saw even in the Optic Boston match today that Boston, all 3 out of the 4 members were negative in that Game 5 win. Overall, for the whole series, I'm talking, so kills only get you so far. It's the clutch that matters, and St. Clair versus Fisher, they had a lot of it.
I love this strat, just trying to crawl edges way towards the bomb site here, getting the plant, and Oklahoma Christian must be feeling confident and being able to play the retake here. 4 versus 4, bomb gets planted. How long will it take Oklahoma to start moving?
Cody got close. No first blood just yet, so you're retaking this one at 4 and 4 through the middle. Gus not able to get the kill locked down. Cootie escapes with 40 HP and some support from KB. Seawads back to his old antics that we saw versus the Falcons, flanking through courtyard. It is flawless from the Saints. They take back their lead.
Yeah, great round from the Saints there. Confident in their push through, just getting the hold. And the Saints really dominate when they feel like they're in control, right? Whether that's in retaking, whether that's in just holding a site when search and destroy. But when they get into a position where they feel like they can play it together and they have all 4 up, it feels like no one can stop them. I feel like if you're playing against them, a number one thing you need to try and get is at least the first blood, just to somehow disrupt their structure. Because when the structure works, it works so well.
Well, I mean, just like what we saw earlier versus the Falcons on this map mode combo, First Blood has reigned true for the round win. 3 into it. See if Oklahoma Christian can answer back. Do we get that same call for a fast play out B? No, this time it's patient. They expect the aggression through Burker, and they draw that first blood onto KB.
A huge first blood to get here now. If they can get moved towards this A site, maybe sort of replicate the play that the Saints done unto them the round previous, then maybe they have a fighting chance. But also, knowing how well the St. Clair Saints can re-break. I mean, we've seen it plenty of times already. Maybe wanting to get another kill before they commit to a site.
It's a hit to B, and Gus keeping the numbers for the Oklahoma Christian ahead of it. He pivots back, and now the lane's open. Rupert, he's going to know this one. Jackal on the ground. Can he get some timing? Glass is open, doesn't have to break it. Spots the feed, and he gets out before the bomb gets planted. He just cannot escape the wall bangs. Oklahoma Christian able to put this one away before it sneaks into the shadows.
Yeah, Oklahoma Christian shooting through the walls was very, very important that he managed to pick up that kill there, Cruz, because you get that rotation out, it's a 2v1 and that bomb's not planted. All of a sudden, the nerves can set in for a round, but Oklahoma doing just about enough to keep in this one. But now we want to get a couple of rounds together and start pulling away with a little bit of a lead, because St. Clair Saints, again, search and destroy, it just feels like they're a sleeping giant. Any moment they could just come through with 3 quick round wins.
This is par for the course for Rewind, at least. For St. Clair, Oklahoma Christian, we are learning quickly that this team has multiple tricks up their sleeve when it comes to defensive holds or attacking breakoffs. It's Prada. He gets hit by the stun. He's going to get rushed into, but the pre-aim takes down Cootie. First blood to Oklahoma Christian, quickly traded, and a second for the Saints. 3v2. Bomb is down. See if Manny can do a little bit more damage. Instead, he's just going to let himself be known and dance around this bomb. Oh no, he gets too aggressive. Now it's a 1v3 for Gus. And how do you pull this one back? You hope the Saints just line up in your AR. And it's a bait and switch to draw you out. St. Clair taking back the lead.
Yeah, St. Clair just constantly doing enough to keep themselves one step ahead. Of course, it will come down to one of these teams wanting to get a couple of more steps ahead, right? Unless we're going to find ourselves in another round 11 scenario. I mean, that wouldn't surprise me as well. I mean, these teams seem literally happy to keep it as tight between each other as it possibly could be. So 249 to 250 and then a round number 11 seems par for the course.
Saints are feeling good on their defenses, but so on the offenses. So are Oklahoma Christian. It has just been back and forth. Stuns outside. No trophy's going to stop this one. Manny, Gus, follow up to the damage. Why not all three? Cruz joins in. As you're looking for the team ace, but Prado's not going to be able to make that happen. Roper gets some timing. Snaps over. Hold on. Hold on, Roper. What is that? As he roars into the site and snaps to all three with one mag.
Well, that is how you be clinical with your ammunition. Barely a bullet miss between the three. As you said, one mag doing the wonders. That is a huge moment in the grand scheme of maybe this series, not just this map.
In a moment's notice, he aces that round. Roper might be the GOAT. The S&D GOAT. And he's going to kick things off at the first blood, too. 5 in a row now for Roper. That battle outside goes his way. He is threading the needle right now in his element.
Absolutely cannot be stopped as the Saints now, again, a man up on the offense, just waiting for their opportunity to go. Again, the confidence, I'm sure, soaring through their veins as you do have Roper playing the wide angles as well.
Pretty sure you got the info there. He's going to disengage from the B, but he knows there's some traffic coming his way, trying to dodge the util. Deny that info from St. Clair, but it's a pivot over towards A, and there's somebody down low. Prada pops up. Can he get more than just the one? Slides over towards Blue, trying to play his life. He is trapped, and Cootie finally trades it. Still numbers for the Saints. Bomb yet to go down. See if the Eagles can draw anything more back.
Maddie just rotates out with his life there, trying to stay up, needing to be a nuisance as the Saints start to rotate over towards B.
He's in behind. He's flanking them. And the timing's going to pay off. Manny finds Roper outside. It's Cootie. 11 seconds, 5 HP to pull off yet another clutch for the Saints. And I don't think there's time. Everybody runs away. Cootie's chasing ghosts at this point. And Oklahoma Christian, man, it is narrow margins to walk away with these round wins. They get it done, though.
It just shows between both of these sides, such a neck-and-neck affair. I mean, at any given moment, these things seem to flip. As soon as you think the Saints start to establish a little bit of control, you have Oklahoma turn it around and go, hey, we're still in this one. We still have a chance of fighting back 4-3. We could take 2 in a row and even this one all up.
And even for the Saints, I mean, you're looking to push this to at least a map 4 at this point. Ruper's 10-3. You don't want to give it up on him. It's a quick hit over towards B, though, from the Eagles' attack, and KB is quickly going to recognize that with nobody back here. I expect these arrows to leave A and see if they can find any salvage towards this B site.
KB's gone so deep. I wonder how effective this is going to be unless he collapses in quick, but you have such a wide spread from the Saints here. They could get pushed in.
But he's been seen. Product goes down, so Saints now advantage on the retake. They have numbers. However, a little bit of a fight back now from Oklahoma Christian. Cruz and Manny, they have the post plant. Siwa's going to reflank this one on the truck. It's such a hard gunfight. Now it's a 1v3, and it looks like the Eagles have tied us up. The Eagle has landed.
Yeah, fantastic 2 rounds, and then to be able to pull it back. A couple of strategies out of the back pocket to get pushed onto that bomb site quickly and make life a little bit more difficult for the Saints, who found themselves very spread apart from each other in that round and ultimately paid the consequences for that.
This is something too. St. Clair are kind of, I don't want to say dominating in the first blood category, but they're leading 5-3 against Oklahoma Christian. So for both teams now to show that they can win rounds after losing that first blood, that is important for Oklahoma Christian. And it even shows that if they start winning these duels off the get-go, it might swing their way.
And this round's very tentative between these two, as now the first bloods become so crucial. You hit that kind of round 9 point. No one wants to be on the back foot of going into round number 10. As the Saints playing very tight together, just trying to find an opening here towards this B as they start to get moved up.
Gus on the bomb. Finds that first blood, looking for 2. Traded by KB. As he narrowly escapes death, 11 health. You can see on that mini-map, Prada slowly working his way into a flank, and you can see Cruz and Manny just waiting for him to make it, see if they can hold their life. Manny has to slide away. And Saints are going to turn around. They actually catch Prada. The timing doesn't work out as Manny now, the round is on his shoulders. He's going to get the trade 2v2. Gets the info into the rest of them, but he just needs to stay alive.
And the push now coming on to A. The plant going to come in, but Cruz could catch some terrific timing here, but he gets dropped by KB. What a huge kill to pick up, but now in a 1v1.
There's no time.
8 seconds.
He takes the fight and St. Clair win it. And you look at them, a couple of hops out the seat. This is incredible search and destroy coming up from both teams, Zep. All you needed to do there for Oklahoma Christian was find the kill onto the bomb carrier. Cruz doesn't get that, but he pulls him off the plants. And Manny gets the kill, but he stays too long. 5 seconds is all he needed. If he hit the deck, this could have been map point for Oklahoma Christian.
Just shows how close it is between these two sides. Anything could completely change the tide. As the Saints down the defense have KB pushing up on the wide angle. But Prada should be ready for a huge first blood coming through though, and now the rotation back being a man up. Great position now for the Saints.
Saints have found themselves in this position multiple times though, and still Oklahoma Christian have battled back, so nothing guaranteed just yet. You're just setting yourself up in the best case scenario to tie the series.
Push on the B now is going to be huge. Are they going to get the pick first? They don't. They still rotate on for the plant though, and trying to defend a 3v4 on the plant. It's going to take a lot of combined efforts here to see this round through.
This is the Eagles' way back into the round. You have your objective now. Hold on to the site as long as humanly possible, and it's 31 seconds to bring this to around 11. Cruz inside of 18. He's going to be the first contact. Some shots there. He's in trouble. Rooper brings this into a 4v2. St. Clair collapse together, and it all falls apart. St. Clair answer back in round 10. They get it done. They send us the distance now in the series. They give us a map 4.
Yeah, congratulations to St. Clair. What a play on that search and destroy. Phenomenal, really, from them. You know, it was so back and forth for the most part, but just a couple of key moments in the rounds ultimately being the difference maker between two sides, where it ultimately feels like they're so evenly matched. It's neck and neck in so many areas, but this time, on the flip of the coin, falling to the side of the Saints to even it up, and as you say, take us at the very least to a map 4. And the Saints seemingly correcting some of the errors in their ways when it comes to the rewind, search and destroy, finally being on the positive side of it here in this LAN.
And you know, it wasn't the, I'd say, prettiest game from St. Clair, but you gotta give so much to Rooper for the way that he played it. 1,800 damage, 12 and 5. A 4-piece clutch. I want to say 1v3, but it might have been a 1v4. My mind's a little bit foggy, kind of thinking back to it. But he really delivered when it comes down to that control outside. He had so many one fights against the ARs of Oklahoma Christian. And I guess you got to give Oklahoma Christian their flowers as well, because they were able to fight back in a lot of those situations, losing those first blood battles. But towards the end of it, you see St. Clair, they win in that category. Obviously not winning every single round where they draw the first blood, but the consistency was there and the slaying was on point.
Yeah, they were just so good throughout. I mean, as we said, both of these teams have been absolutely immaculate throughout, right? I mean, barely any player sort of doing almost anything wrong. You're seeing 4 players on each side just playing to the top of their game. They're being kind of such a privilege to watch really at the moment because they're playing some top tier Call of Duty and going on to a protocol control now as well. We could potentially see a protocol again going all the way, but a protocol control feels very different to what we've seen so far, and how these teams will be able to adjust to each other on a map like this is going to be huge in terms of pivoting where this series will go.
Well, we're going to get things set up for the protocol control. Don't forget to show some love to our sponsors, Scuff Gaming, and head over towards scuff.co/collegecod to pick up one of these bad boys on screen. Scuff, the proud controller partner of College COD, and a controller that you yourself should look to get your hands on if you want to raise to the top of your own class. So we'll see you soon for the control. We'll be back with more College COD very soon. Welcome back, everybody, to the College COD Championships, and I guess I'm playing caster roulette today. As everybody just wants to leave me halfway through a series. Zep had to go, Andy had to go earlier. Alex, welcome to the desk, man. Welcome to the championships.
You know, I'll tell you one thing. I'm not going to leave you. I have no life outside of this broadcasting thing, so I'm here for the long haul, Colin, and I'm with you every step of the way until the end. If I could, that's the wrong way. I guess I'm doing a left-hand shake here. I don't know.
Well, we've had quite the story, Alex, I'd say, across our first couple of games. St. Clair just love to make things interesting. And every single map that we see, except for the Vault Control and the Hacienda Search and Destroy that we had from them in the last series, it has been so neck and neck. This team just lives for the clutch moments.
I guess they do. I mean, watching back the first Vault Hardpoint on the stream side of things was a pleasure. More so than anything else. Just kind of like live reacting with the rest of prod in the back end, just waiting for the next series was a ton of fun. Just seeing that little comeback at the end happen on that P4 P1 rotation, great. The rewind search and destroy, I mean, that little miracle snapper there from Rupert at the end of I believe it was what, round 6, I don't know, one of the two. That was also fun. So I mean, just as a spectator alone, this has been a fun series. So I'm excited for what we're gonna get here in the protocol control. I will say St. Clair's played the controls really well, at least so far this weekend. Yeah, we've only seen one technically on stream, but it's kind of been a mode that they've been able to take over a lot throughout most of the season as well, even just in the playoff brackets we had online.
Yeah, St. Clair's been good for control, and you can really look towards the ability that Rupert has brought to this roster in that AR line, those really key moments where he can open up a lane for Cootie and C-Watts to really get their job done, and you think that's going to stay true for a map like Protocol Control as well, which we're jumping into, and that was the case for Rewind Search, is that AR battle early on. You saw Rupert was doing a good job of just dominating that outer lane. I think it's going to be on the back of Cruzy COD to really step up here to see if he can silence this guy, because he is having a game.
We'll see what happens. Shots open front door. Cruz watching over B in no man's land. Lay of the land set up right now. 1-1, 3 lives apiece, still remaining in the middle of the map as they fight for space. Cruz a nice little double, and Colin, at least for right now, bit of mouthwork he did, at least proven to be true. Yeah.
Cruz looking good right off the get-go, and the rest of his team following in suit. So 4 go down for the Saints finally, and you start to see the Eagles pushing that margin forward, but a little bit of a fight back out of those spawns, and Saints still looking to put their eyes over towards this A site for a moment, and until it is lost, it is a quick dash over towards B from Cootie, and that also is going to get dealt with. So St. Clair slowly just trying to peel back this defensive hold that Oklahoma Christian have set up.
Rupert on the drop down. I was surprised he stayed alive for as long as he did there with Oklahoma Christian closing in on it. They open up for 2-1 again. B site. Got a fight over there. Outside the bottom into no man's land. C-Wads is here for some help. Gonna have to fight against Cruz on the top side and gets the read and the call out from Prada. So now you have to look at the map as you continue to push forward. Cootie making a route to the bottom side, up through Grandma's. Really, the contention point's gonna be over towards B, and if you can get out through middle map.
Oklahoma Christian have been good for finding those multi-kills, but here's the break for Saints, and this is exactly what we saw versus Fisher. As soon as things went 4 down on this attacking side, St. Clair just erupted into confidence, and now over towards the B and the A zone. They're getting progress done, and the A zone is stacked.
I was going to say, I don't know if I love the 2-2 split, Chow, for both of the sites on defense. I would have loved to just see a 4-man retake on one of the sites, try to work your leverage over towards the opposite side, since you know there were probably 2 stack on the map with how fast the ticks were progressing. But still on the backside, Prada hasn't been able to touch on. Full ticks of progress all completed over on the A side. You get some more time, and you still have a player out on B looking for the second.
I like the way that St. Clair played that A zone at least. The off angle from Kudius, you know that the pressure's going to come in. He's able to deal with anybody trying to contest that zone. Well, your teammates are just cleaning it up. So St. Clair managing to bring this life lead back into their favor. And now over towards B. All they need is 1 tick. The stack is in. Oklahoma Christian are rushing to see if they can get there, but they don't get there in time. St. Clair roaring back into their offenses. This team just lives for those big ticket moments.
And that was the worst of the timing for Prada in middle map. You were looking over, obviously we have the X right there, but up the staircase, you're having one run to try and touch on the zone. If you get that congestion point and you're able to maybe slide onto the hill, not have to play through middle map where you know that offensive spawn's going to be coming from, you don't have many bodies around you to look over in the way of AR. So again, just a small timing there, but it goes back to what St. Clair did on their offensive push. Once they get that forward down, we again, on any map of control, know how important that can be. But a 2-man stack on A and on B to not only pull the heads of Oklahoma Christian away, but just secure what you know you're going to be able to get. Fantastic stuff.
I like this call. 2 players from each team going to drop down the respective sides into the pit. That is P4, and see if they can find a route underneath to get into the other spawn. St. Clair going to win those fights, and that's going to put some pressure onto Cruz out in no man's land. He's dealt with, and all eyes towards the Z zone. KB is sitting. He is big chilling over here.
And taking down Manny on the consolation point. This is going to give full clearance for St. Clair to push up the map on their defensive hold. And that was Gus Falls. You looked at the back line. You're playing inside of bottom top trips right now, and with CWAS being able to push this line forward, unless Prada wins the 1v, you're probably not getting out of spawn.
Well, CWAS hits the first 7 and 6. He's going to spot somebody up the rope as well. Hip fire lands, and Gus is taken care of. Picks up the AR off his body. He's looking for a little bit extra damage, but the information onto Prada, that is relayed to KB. He's able to take the pressure off that B zone. And St. Clair chipping away at this time. 24 seconds to see if Oklahoma Christian can pull off what St. Clair just did to them.
Oh, see what spots up top? And you actually don't spot him out if you're Manny. So now as you hop on B, you got 2 players there. You have to look for the contestation from Kuti coming on the opposite side of the lighthouse. Shots onto the first one. Good trade there from Gus. Has to play his life in a solo spot. 47 HP and a contestation from middle map now comes from CWAS. With 13 seconds left, it's all Oklahoma Christian to have to do with the beauty once again of breaking out of the spawn trap.
And not even a segment captured at B there, so this is as dry as it gets from the Eagles. St. Clair doing a fantastic job on their defense of just setting precedent for what you need to do to take them down on this map mode combo. It is perfect so far in that regard. Now it's going to have to be the reverse sweep from Oklahoma Christian if they want to lead in the series.
I mean, we talked about how good St. Clair have been, but I mean, a couple of miscues from Oklahoma Christian at the same stretch.
Yeah.
When they got the 4 down and were able to start pushing their way out of the map, you got caught in top and bottom trips and in the P3 building for just way too long. I think that objective line needed to be pushed out just a bit further, or at least go on to B to take some space on that point. Yeah, I like to play into side of the bottom grandmas, but they know that that's going to be the play, especially if you have no bodies on the B zone. So I would have liked to see that maybe played a touch better, but I mean, for the most part, you have to give credit where credit is due to St. Clair for even getting the 4 down and being able to re-break.
Pressure's on now for the Eagles, as eventually they're going to have to find an offensive round, but first and foremost, they need to make sure that St. Clair get nothing done on this offense. So, see if the defense can step up. Prada inside Armory. He is going to find Rupert. Picks up the AR, looking for more over towards top trip. CWAS with a big win, but the rest of the team for the Eagles going to take care of the Saints. And they can start walking forward. Look at this from Manny.
Oh, and he's got great timing on at least 2 players in front of him. Shots on the first. Decides to go to the bottom side of P3. Might even drop down the spiral staircase to get better timing on a pinch towards no man's. Well played by Manny to just get one, get out with their life, get lost in the mix. St. Clair's going to have to start looking now.
Yeah, and look at how much time this has burnt. 41 seconds. St. Clair almost have to make a play over towards this A zone, but as soon as they do, 3 go down, and this is their time to activate. A flip has switched. And Eagles have to react. Nades coming out. Trophies not there, so the stuns are going to hit, and KP is still managing to find that kill. Cootie on the side. Snaps to a second. 3 down again for Oklahoma Christian. The A zone is stacked, and it is going.
And this is what St. Clair do so well. Once they get on a zone, it's very seldom do you see a team on defense be able to take them off, especially on a map like Protocol. And there it is, A zone, completely locked down. You look at the lay of the land now. Oklahoma Christian, you got 2 bodies pushed up through middle map. You've got a contention point playing deep in your own spawn. But St. Clair continue just to have the presence, not only at the 50-yard line of the map, but continuing to just find maybe 1 or 2 players from Oklahoma Christian as they come off spawn.
Minute 30 for the Eagles to silence this, and they need to activate here. 6 life difference, still a chance to cut down this lead that is in front of them. And you know they have what it takes, so I like these calls from just to find an angle, find a corner, sit there, just exist as long as you possibly can.
Top shots, 2-1, Oklahoma Christian fighting tooth and nail. Cootie through middle map, gets a good timing. Should be able to escape the bottom grandmas. Callouts will be in for Oklahoma Christian, but this is where you can get lost and get back to middle map. If you're able to resurface, maybe give yourselves a chance. But 50 seconds, 2 life advantage. Spawn pushed up for Oklahoma Christian. Now it's St. Clair, who basically are fighting a 3v2 in their own spawn.
I'll say this is a job well done from Oklahoma Christian, all things considered. Now that life lead is just 2 kills, and you still have players, teammates, just roaming in the spawn of St. Clair for free. 37 seconds to make a play over towards this B zone. Cootie's going to jump on that, and KP finding an answer. 3 go down. You're separated. And that moment for Prada, he gets it 7 in a row. Is it enough to hold on?
Long range shots from Rupert on the top side of trips. You look back to middle map to see if anybody else is going to be there for the push. Manny on a contestation. He has 2 bodies sliding in front of him. The double slide goes through. It's a 1-1 trade. It allows Cootie to stay alive. 48 HP, looking to push back onto the B point. You've got contestation points inside of the lighthouse, and KB on another flank down low.
Respawns. Now it's down to 3. Eagles, you gotta go big. Gus, Cruz, Manny, 12 seconds now to keep this control in your sights. In for the flank. It's fast. It's Manny. He gets the first one tagged low. Needs some assistance. And it's Cruz right there. The bait and the switch. They get 3. 1v1 for the point. 7 seconds. Rupert biding his time. And Cruz is right next to him. He gets spotted. And St. Clair take it. A 3-0 for the Protocol, and it is never a dull moment with the Saints.
I'm going to be honest. The only reason St. Clair are able to take that round is because of the route that Cootie made on the opposite side of the map. Like, yeah, St. Clair, you know, they get out of their spawn, but there really wasn't many gunfights that they needed to take in their own spawn to get out. What Cootie did is he played his life in the bottom of Grandma's when we watched that solo play happening and starting to develop, gets out onto B without being spotted by Oklahoma Christian. What that does is the second that he's on that point, he wins a huge 1v that took away the spawn side from Lighthouse of Oklahoma Christian on defense there. And then KB was able to slip up through middle map because the heads of Oklahoma Christian turned back around to start looking at B because they thought there might be another body there that could have escaped out through no man's. So that play alone by Cootie set up everything for St. Clair to get back out to B. And then it was just a matter of staying on top of the lives that you had already built for yourselves and then winning the trade battle.
You look back at this one, I mean, it does not tell the story when you see that 3-0 in Protocol. Just in general, Oklahoma Christian, so many moments where they're just right there. But Alex, the difference when it comes down to control for the Saints team is that you will see in a moment where they are almost spring-loaded in the chamber, setting up towards those points, and then bam, right out the barrel, they get 3 down, they jump on those zones. And it's almost like you're in panic mode then on the defense, just trying to stabilize in any way you can. You throw your nades, there's trophies. You get into a body, there's that 4th player waiting through the middle of the map, cutting you on that rotation. It is so clinical and so well-timed from the Saints on the Protocol here, the Vault before. It's hard to see it coming. It just hits you like it T-bones you from the side of the road.
Well, like, I think you teed it up best when you said it's well timed, because that's what a lot of the plays that they set up come down to. It's not like, you know, on the comms going, hey, 3, 2, 1 this. I mean, maybe it is in some capacity, but a lot of what they're doing is reading the mini map and kind of understanding where the teammates are going to be around the map, right? If there is, you know, 2 players coming off of spawn, it's not something where they're probably going, hey, we have to run together on this. It's the likelihood that, hey, I know I have my teammate here with me. Let's both make this play. And it could be be simple as, hey, slide this. And then like you saw when they were trying to hit through no man's to get on to B, it was a slide challenge through to get a 1-1 trade, gave them a 3v3 back on the point, and then the hit from middle map came as soon as that started to progress through because you had the top trips control that Oklahoma Christian weren't able to get out of their hands. So again, well-timed coordination from St. Clair, just being in the right spot and making the correct play as a solo player to then set up your team for success.
Well, here's the team giving us a little bit of an update, I guess, of what is happening around the venue per se. And you can see Northwood have a map win against Fisher, but 2 map losses. So going into that map 4, I don't know what's going on with this Northwood team, but they just can't get anything going, Alex. It is, it's awful.
I mean, you also have to think at the same time, like, who are you playing right now as well? Like, this isn't, you know, your typical Northwood's going to run through everybody and be at the top of the CCL ladder anymore. This is a Northwood roster that, albeit still extremely talented with a very, very, like good roster, you're also playing up against other incredible rosters. You have a St. Clair team who is playing CCL and Challengers together. You have an Oklahoma Christian team that has been together for multiple years at this point, and the vibes are always high with them, high level like talent across the board. Then you have the Fisher team. Yeah, you have Matt who comes into the equation and is replacing Rex, but at the same time, Bolt Cut Matt has played phenomenal in the role that he's been, you know, kind of required to fill in. Those shoes were very large, and he's done a good job putting, you know, a 9 and a 12 footer. Like, it's good things that you're seeing out of every team that are here this weekend. Sure, there might be some missteps from this Northwood roster, but I think it's just a credit to how good all the 4 teams are this weekend.
You're losing to Bolt Cut Matt. Flames was in the CDL, man. You got Dak there, Neo Mock. Like, this is a team that should be winning.
Oh, for sure. No, you can definitely put the word should there.
You look at Fisher, though, and it was what I was saying to Andy earlier on today, is that I don't know what boot camp Brack has put down for this team since Rex has elevated into the CDL. Whatever it has done, it has created a system where Matt looks so well, I'd say, oriented. He looks comfortable. He does.
He's not out of sync with the rest of the roster. I think that's the best way to phrase it.
And it is the best thing that you need for this roster going into the tournament here. You know the competition, like you said, that you're going up against in every single roster. It is tough competition. And he's delivered. I mean, this is literally the Ray Cott story that we had for Oklahoma Christian last year when he subbed in for, I'm pretty sure it was Frosty he subbed in for some, I'm pretty sure his account got banned or something like that. And we had Ray in for those last games, and he was shooting, and so was Matt.
And I honestly, like, I think to this Oklahoma Christian team, right? And you know, one of the things that that you and I actually towards the end of the season discussed, we were kind of saying, like, we think that St. Clair might just be the best team in collegiate right now. And that comes down to a multitude of things. Obviously, one of the biggest factors being they're consistently at full strength with the same team they've been playing with, not only throughout this, but inside of Challengers as well. But I think for Oklahoma Christian, obviously not having spark for this last stint of the season and into the playoffs and everything that has happened to this team, I think this is kind of like the return to glory and almost like a revenge opportunity for Oklahoma Christian. You know, again, not having a full strength roster at the end of last year, feeling like they might have been able to not only fight and contend, but even win a championship in 2024 for the MW3 year.
Yeah,
I think Oklahoma Christian are kind of playing with kind of like a Suave at the same time, to where if they are able to make it into the grand final and be in a spot where they can play for a championship, I don't think we're going to see them back down, even if it's a St. Clair roster playing at the best of their abilities, or a Northwood or a Fisher, regardless of any team that they're playing up against. Again, like, there's the storyline of, like, yes, Oklahoma Christian are just great players across the board, but I think at the same time, there is this sort of revenge from last year that they want to be able to execute on.
Yeah, and I mean, Oklahoma Christian, they have such a high ceiling on every single player.
They do.
And the chemistry that matches, it exceeds, actually, St. Clair's roster that we see here. Both camps have just exceptional support systems. I mean, you even see behind St. Clair when we were looking at their cameras, you got Coach Brandon behind them, who steps up in place of Zarin this year, and he's been just a key component to the roster in general in terms of not only being able to sub in for the roster. You know, you talk to these guys, they say, yeah, Brandon can just jump in for us and we still feel good. But he's also giving them those nitty-gritty details and the fundamentals and making sure that everybody's clicking and paying attention to the big picture. And that is important for them. And then behind that, you have somebody like, and I'm name dropping here, you got like Chris Funston behind them, who has brought these players from Latin America and America into the camp of St. Clair and makes them feel good day in and day out to be comfortable playing away from home, playing in a different country, and playing for this college. It is just, it's why we regard St. Clair for being just such a well put together squad. Is because they have layers and layers of support behind them that help them feel comfortable. You even look at them, they're big chilling at the setup. They haven't left since about noon today, our time on the East Coast. And I think for Oklahoma Christian, they have it, they can do it. It's just kind of matching it up at the same time like we saw towards the end of that Vault hardpoint. We're going into rewind very soon for these players. They're just fixing a couple issues. We'll see if Oklahoma Christian can give us that map 5 again versus the Saints for 2 maps in a row on the other side. We are out for the rewind hardpoint, Oklahoma Christian. It was a 1-point game back of the Vault. It was close, but they clutched up. Now to get to that map 5, they have to do it again. Rewind for St. Clair. I mean, they finally put that search and destroy away, but even versus Fisher, this was not a very comfortable map for them.
I mean, you like the opening break for St. Clair, though. Force the spawns out towards 18. Now the only contest point you really have to worry about is Cruz playing in through blue. You win the gunfight if you're Rupert there. So now it's, again, all heads turning back to the left side of the map and maybe on the south where you have Prada looking to make a route forward. But everything here is all about Oklahoma Christian, not only trying to play the back end of scrap time, but also force things out to P2. And St. Clair are going to spawn so deep towards that top left side of the minimap that it's really not going to matter unless they break through the middle.
It's a good start so far. Look in the back. Cootie's got so much information. He's going to contest this. Playing prone. I don't even think Manny's seen him just yet. And the jig is up. Snaps around. Cootie gets 2 major kills to lock down those spawns. He's even got some help. And St. Clair put it on display that they have patched those mistakes for the rotations here.
I mean, you want to talk about the ability to hold things down. Send 3 bodies out to the side of the map where Oklahoma Christian's going, and a setup that took about 15-20 seconds to fully develop isn't even going to get a full look to actually fully be implemented on the site itself. So Manny's still alive here. You're looking to play the contestion. You get the readout if you're Rupert, and you find 2 Ford and Gus and Prada. So as another wave of kills come through in the green for St. Clair, Oklahoma Christian, they got to figure something out on these breaks.
This is picture perfect so far. And even look at Rupert's positioning. He is so far up and still finding kills. Look at the time it's buying for the rest of the team. It is ridiculous right now for the setup that we get from the Saints. And in this moment of just pure B2A, I'm going to let you guys know that on the other side, it's going game 5 versus Fisher Northwood.
I like that. Just as you were calling on Northwood to step up, hey, guess what? They're playing against that Fisher roster pretty well. So I don't think we've seen the last of them. Still plenty of time in the round robins, but they're definitely going to need to make something stick. Speaking of, Cruz over in the burger side of the map, going to get traded out by Cootie. St. Clair going to have their first opportunity for a break, and they do it quite well. Only took them about, I'd say, 15 seconds to really get into the front door. Now they can hold again. Cootie just dancing with his life and is able to slide over to the right-hand side. He might get one for his troubles.
You're winning the fights on the inside, but I'm looking at still player number 4, Rupert, who has gone the full length of this map to try to flip these spawns out, and it has put Gus out of position, and so the spawns have flipped, and St. Clair just getting majority of time for these hard points. Oklahoma Christian need to put some more focus on the hill time, because this is so tough now to come back from on a map like Rewinds when you're heading into 2 money hills.
I mean, when you think about what St. Clair's doing here versus what Oklahoma Christian's doing, it's just fundamentally different Call of Duty. One is an outside-in method from Oklahoma Christian. The other is an inside-out method, meaning that if St. Clair is pushing inside of the hill, they're going there first and then looking to expand their horizons forward afterwards and then play the outer side of the hill. Finally, Oklahoma Christian seem to be starting to do just that. They're going to break through the front. Now they've got full body control here, and it's a deep spawn all the way out across the map for Rupert. He's going to have to fucking sprint across the map if he wants to get there in time.
Well, 25 seconds left on this hill. 3 down for the Saints. Rupert outside. He's just going to collapse with the rest of the team. They break, and look how far away you're spawning. At this point, if you're Oklahoma Christian, Alex, you just got to chalk this one up, set up for P5,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
just call it quits in the first rotation. You put all your eggs into this basket.
Still got a few bodies around the outside, though. And if you can win that against C1, you're looking pretty. So finally, they'll at least lock something down on the north side of generators. And you spot a cross out. Great trigger discipline from Gus. You're going to get the read on the backside of the P4 exit. So as you get these checkout kills, now attention can be turned back around.
Yeah, this is where you're looking for a full 60, and they have a good spread, though. Gus goes down. What is that? I mean, you give him an Ames or a Jackal, it doesn't matter. He still fries at length. You get the spawns for Oklahoma Christian now, all the way back towards a P4. They're racing to get into this, see if they can break immediately. Gus opens up with a kill.
And Cootie's just going to play the corner. Do you get the read on the chase through Elephant if you're Manny? Absolutely not. I thought for a moment it was going to be the same demising fate for Cruz, but 4 dead for Oklahoma Christian, something that's become quite a theme here on Rewind. I guess we'll run that back a couple times.
It's like kinetic energy. It's just everything that's thrown at St. Clair, they just throw right back into the face of Oklahoma Christian with like twice the force.
Yeah.
3 down again. And this is crazy. Just look at the stats that we're seeing. 13 and 7 from C-Watts, 15 and 8 from Cootie. Rupert is 12 and 7. He's only got 3 seconds the hill, but it doesn't matter. He's getting those spawns for the team when it really is needed for those big moments on rotation. And Oklahoma Christian are just missing the mark on everything.
I mean, the only gunfights I'm seeing Oklahoma Christian be able to take half the time are just solo gunfights or again, just like exit frag checkouts. Like,
yeah,
that's it. St. Clair have done such a good job of being able to put themselves in positions to trade effectively thus far. And where do you see everybody on the map right now? Gus is forced to play a solo middle map. You're getting the spawns out by Burger, but nobody's in middle map to help out. St. Clair just continue to capitalize off the fact that Oklahoma Christian, if it's not a coordinated break at the beginning or maybe the midsection of a hard point, it's just solo chow after solo chow.
We're 2 rotations in. It's 190 to 66. I
Yeah.
mean, if this is going to be a Volt level comeback, it has to start now. And you need to get this flank. You need to flip these spawns. So into the new hill, you have player number 8, Cruz, trying to work towards the bottom of the map. Hill's going to pop, and Cruz makes the play. He takes down KP. Rupert's got some pressure now. He has to turn around. You can see the white arrows of the Eagles starting to collapse, but he still gets one, playing his life. The rest of the team shows up, and the kills are there. Nothing is beating St. Clair.
Even playing your life for half of a second there allowed the full collapse from Saints to come back in. Just a complete corral of what Oklahoma Christian had there. Another lineup from the back. Rupert gets tagged with his teammate, and now you know the last 2 are going to be out by the crate here. Shots in the pre-fire. Cruz last alive. Deep spawns out by Burger. Good luck trying to break this back. Oklahoma Christian, it might be a loss here.
They don't win off this hill, Alex, so it is going to go to P3, but you have to fight for this time. And even if you do get the break, then you're risking the spawn outs for the Saints for an easy rotation to that 3rd hill, and you can see that they are just going one by one to contest it. And look at Cootie! Cootie's deep on the back, so he's going to get spotted by Manny, but that could have been dangerous.
I like you play the full wrap there, but KB wins the 1v on the hill. And once again, Oklahoma Christian, they spent so much time getting the spawns opposed to getting to the hard point. They send one person there. You get a trade with a Semtex, but the problem is there's so much force there. Finally, you win a good wave of kills and it goes your way, but you're still down by 150 points.
You go 3 down anyways. KB and Rupert are just lighting it up. 13 seconds for St. Clair to put this one away in 4. And there is nothing that the Eagles have been able to produce on this map mode combo that has made you even remotely think that this could go to a map 5, 250 to 88, and they stand up enthused on what they were just able to do. Fist bumps on either side. What a showing from the Saints.
Back-to-back respawns. The control that was dominant into a hard point that you could argue might have been even better show of force. That from St. Clair is going to be something that we are going to start talking about as this weekend progresses. You now go to a point where you're 2-0. You're sitting pretty to lock yourself into the winner bracket. You might even just be in a spot to where, as the top seed, you're looking to get to that grand final as the first team there, be in control of the vetoes. Obviously, there's going to be a series in between that, but I'm going to be completely honest here, Colin. When we talk about everything in totality, over the course of those last two maps specifically, because I don't really want to group maps 1 and 2 into this conversation at the moment. When we talk about those last two maps, that dominance that I just saw right there, it is going to be hard to beat them when they're playing at their best. And I would say that Rewind Hardpoint is them playing at their best.
It's truly a showcase of the skill for the Saints and how high the ceiling is. I've never seen a team win 250 to 88 and have a player leave the lobby. I don't know what you're trying to hide, Cootie, but I'm going to be the first to say that's the first red card of the CCL championships. Bud, stay in the lobby. We got some good admins behind the scenes tracking all the stats for us to pop some knowledge bombs on stream. So we want to see the good.
Admins are going to give a warning.
We want to see the highs and the lows, Alex. There's no way we can spin a comeback story if we don't know where it begins. But looking back at this, 3-1 for St. Clair. And yeah, you're right to say that maps 1 and 2, it was contested. It was very entertaining when you jumped in. But maybe that's the difference. They were just waiting for you to hop on stream.
Yeah, I think maybe it's a bad omen that I hopped in here. You and Zep had a wonderful series start, and it got ruined immediately by St. Clair taking it to an elevated state of Call of Duty. But yeah, I don't want to cast or curse, but might have been the one that put the nail in the coffin.
I mean, hey, I was excited to see that Protocol Search and Destroy, but I'm also excited to see what other matches we do have today, because this might have been the reset that we needed after a 5-hour kind of lapse in our series that we had for that earlier break on today. But seems like we're catching up with these teams and we're getting everything leveled out. Like we said before, Game 5 between Northwood and Fisher. That's a big one for one of these two teams to put a win in that column. For Oklahoma Christian, they lose. They move down to that 1-1 standing, and they're waiting to see which team joins them in that column.
Yeah, I mean, this Game 5 sets up a lot of different possibilities, because all of a sudden, if you talk about, Fisher going down to an 0-2 state, but they're able to get one back when they go up against Oklahoma Christian, then that's when you start looking at the map win losses and some of the head-to-heads, right? If, say, Northwood is able to take this, but they're at a 3-5 map record, and then you're looking at things that are a bit different in the win-loss. That again, those are the important things that we are going to have to take note of, because as important as head-to-heads are, the map win-loss can be just as important, especially if you get into a situation against a team that it's a bit tricky on.
And you're going to look at all these teams, you're going to be very familiar with the way that they play. Obviously, you've played each other in College COD, you've played each other in Challengers. You get to know how you match up against some of these teams, and you look at that map difference might be the difference of matching up against a team you really play bad against and matching up against a team in that bracket that you play really good against. And I'm sure that every team, albeit these guys are champions in their own right, every team has their favorites, and I'm sure that is something that you're going to be looking into for tomorrow when we do get into those round 1 matches of that double elimination bracket. But Alex, I mean, for a 3-1 out of St. Clair, you couldn't have asked for a better showcasing from them for Oklahoma Christian. I want to put you on the hot seat right now for this squad, because this is a team that obviously brought Gus into the playoffs when Spark got elevated. You knew that he wasn't coming back. What do you think needs to change for them going into the rest of it if they want to beat somebody like St. Clair?
I don't think anything necessarily needs to be a wild or a kind of like a radical change within the way that they're playing. I think it's just kind of a breakdown of a couple different things, specifically highlighted in what we saw in those last 2 respawns. Number 1, it's if that first play that they're making doesn't go their way, it feels like the order of, or like how they want to play something kind of falls apart, and that like chain of command of where you're like, okay, this person's going to take that initial gunfight, or we're going to send here, here, and here. If that kind of falls apart, it takes a minute for that to reset for them. So when they're taking that extra half second, or maybe they're making that second push and it's not as well coordinated as you'd like to see, that's when they get 2 wave downs, and you see St. Clair just being able to take the best out of them. It also could just be the simple fact that Rewind Hardpoint is relatively new in their map pool again. Although they might have played it at the beginning of the year, it still is kind of that like random jump. So maybe that's a veto that they don't want to play that map on anymore, because we saw what happened on the Vault Hardpoint. I don't think they played a bad map in that one whatsoever. Good composure at the end to hold on for the comeback on the P4, P1 rotation. Again, I don't think there's necessarily anything that they need to go out there and change. I would just say, like, on maybe maps that they're a little less comfortable on, or maybe they just don't gel as well together on, just take a moment to kind of like talk about what they want to do after that first break doesn't go their way. And that either is small talk in game, or quite literally just talking before the map starts.
Communication goes a long way for a lot of teams, and Rewind Auto Veto might be something you're looking at against that St. Clair team. You're right to say that. They look good. Oklahoma Christian, for sure, it's a team that we expect to bounce back throughout this tournament, but we got to wait for this Game 5 between Fisher and Northwood to finish up before we get our last game of the night going. Between, I think it's the last game of the night. I don't know if we're going to be jumping in. We'll wait to figure out what's going on for this whole thing. But we're going into our third round of the round robin, where we get to see St. Clair versus Northwood. After that matchup is done, we get the vetoes all done. We'll be back with some more championships coming soon.